Well, hello there YouTubers, a very warm welcome back to my channel, and most importantly, a very warm welcome back to my vlog. Now in this recording I am going to be talking about how I go through the use of my Aerobika pretty much every week when my dear friend Sean is not with me on a monthly basis, pounding my chest like so. A big shout out to Sean for helping me with my previous recording. Thank you very so much for being Mr. Cameraman, so to speak. So now I am back on my selfie stick, like so, and my selfie stick is on my lovely postural drainage therapy bed. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a short or fairly short conversation, because you never really know these type of things, whether they're going to be short or long, but I know for sure that I am also going to be doing a dedication conversation to somebody. Is that you? Well, stay tuned to find out. So whatever you're doing right now, make yourself comfortable, but put me on pause. That's the word I was thinking of. And before you do so, put me on pause, like I said, to make yourself comfortable. Right, are you ready? Great. So whatever length this is going to be, I hope that you'll enjoy my presence. Check this out. So what's happening, guys? Thank you ever so much for tuning back in to, well, watch me further, because that's what you're here to do. Anyway, regardless, as I record this on Thursday, this particular recording, which I tend to call Therapy Thursday. And the only reason why I call it Therapy Thursday is because both words start with TH. Like, for example, I call Friday Fantastic Friday, Sunday Super Sunday. Is it a Manic Monday for you? Or is it a Wacky Wednesday for you? But regardless, I certainly come up with these weird things. Anyway, so I have my Aerobika in front of me, and they come in bit by bit, as my very dear friend Sean told me, do things bit by bit. So this is what I'm going to be doing bit by bit. There we go. So this bit by bit item comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Sometimes I can't count, but then again, I'm not very good at maths either. Perhaps if I load up the picture first. And so obviously obviously it can be fitted in anyway, but the way it's coming out first. So this is the main filter bit, like so. That is that. Perhaps if I put it together, and then I can perhaps start to talk about it more, rather than talking about that specific part and then trying to think ahead at the same time. So this is how I put my Aerobika together. So what is the Aerobika? Now, the Aerobika is a device which oscillates or vibrates my lungs when my very dear friend Sean is not with me on a monthly basis. Now, obviously, like I said already, I do this for myself on certain days of the week, and obviously, like with the percussion technique, Sean also performs the vibration in between each of the percussion he does for me. And so basically, this is like the manual vibration technique, but instead I blow into it. And just in a moment, I'm going to show you a quick demonstration of how I actually do this. And again, as I said already, this device, when I blow into this device, it vibrates and oscillates my lungs. Now, I do this for a number of certain times when I lay on my two sides, front and or back. Sort of depends what mood I'm in as well. But regardless, there are also other devices. Previous before this, I had the device called Acapella, again, which is the same kind of device, which is like a long green tube, which is like, kind of looks like a tortoise shell type of thing. And again, it has this mouthpiece at the end, exactly the same as this, where the Acapella also vibrates my lungs. There is also another mechanical device out there, which is called which I actually don't know what it's called actually, but it's like a vest that you put on, and it has tubes sticking out of it, which is connected to a machine, and obviously you program it to a certain amount of time, and it shakes you to kingdom come. And quite luckily, I've never ever been given that device, because some people are lucky, and unfortunately some people are, or others are not so lucky in regards to CF, where they need more stronger mechanical device to get rid of all that crap and gunge, or whatever you like to call it, on your lungs. And I think that's everything, so let's crack on with the action. Okay, so here I am on my ever so lovely, luxurious postural drainage therapy bed, like so. And I do have to confess, I really love this bed. I really do. I mean, I did try sleeping on it years ago, and it's not the very comfiest of things, but it is a bed to rest on at least. And obviously, if I do happen to suddenly decide to sleep on it, then I'm obviously giving myself that postural drainage treatment at the same time. 2 in 1, bingo. There we go. And perhaps if this may be sad, but I know, I mean, like, if I had a dying wish for me to die at home, then I would like to pass away on this postural drainage bed. But at the end of the day, people have got certain wishes in different ways. So most likely I'm likely to die in a hospital bed, but my dying wish would be to pass away on this postural drainage bed. I know, tell me about it. Anyway, so here I am on my bed, like so, and I obviously do always start on my right hand side, and basically I start off, well, I tend to always do between half an hour to an hour maximum. And obviously what I always do, regardless whether it's half an hour, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, up to an hour, I always spend about, I always do about 5 minutes in between each aerobika. And obviously, if I'm doing 45 minutes, for example, then I do 15 minutes on both of my sides, just my front, if I'm doing one side of my front, or if I'm doing more than 45 minutes, 50 minutes to an hour, then obviously I do my front and back as well. So normally I'd have a clock here, so I can keep an eye at the same time, and sometimes when I'm just lying away, just resting, thinking of all the wonderful things that's happening in my life. Like so, I obviously tend to pretend that my very dear friend Sean is giving me percussion at the same time. So I'll try to have that imagination while I'm laying here on my bed. Like so, and then obviously I myself actually come in at this point where I start to do some aerobika breathing. And again, I tend to do this 3 times, and whether this tends to be 2 lots of 3s or 3 lots of 3s. I mean, like, for example, yeah, I mean, it sort of depends, really. I mean, if I do about 45 minutes, then I do 3 lots of 3 for 15 minutes on both of my sides, front and or back, like so. And so, yeah, so just basically after each 5 minutes or so, I blow into this device. And as you may have seen already, this tube here is obviously you've got a green bit, a yellow bit, and a red bit. I mean, before my calf trio treatment, perhaps the furthest I could get is 30. It starts off from the number 5 all the way up to the number 60. But I'm so grateful that I've had the correct gene for my calf trio to be accepted by my body, and now I am getting up to 60 quite often. So that's how the good effect of calf trio, get my words right, has worked many wonders in my life. I mean, obviously I do have to continue to perform treatment because I'm never going to be free of CF. And so, yeah, I mean, that's still talking out of the way. So perhaps if I do a short demonstration while I give my neck a bit of a rest. There we go. Okay. Okay. And this is my end procedure. Again, obviously, whatever amount of time that I tend to do, from anything between half an hour to an hour. I mean, I do have to confess that this is my most favourite position to lay in, and even if I'm just laying watching TV, mostly I would just lay like this. Obviously, just imagine like so. You know, just being lazy, for example, and just watching TV, like darts, for example. And I just imagine that my dear friend Sean is pounding my chest. I know the things I do, I know. Okay, so, again, as you've seen already, I start off on my right side and obviously performing the exact same on my left side, finally ending up in this position. But obviously I will do the same amount of aerobika blows from when I lay in reverse, so to speak. And so this is what I tend to do, first of all. And again, it's sort of depending on the situation. I sometimes do some huffing in between. Obviously, in this world right now where there's coronavirus going round. I mean, I've not done it of late, but again, it depends if I really want to or not. But in between 3 sets of Aerobika blows, like so. I also do the same amount of huffing, which I'm going to perform for you right now. So in between each of the Aerobika, I tend to do lots of huffing, which is as follows. And as you've seen already, basically what the huffing technique also does is to force up the secretions from your lungs to eventually cough it out. I know it's not the bestest of words, but words are there in the dictionary for it to be said, regardless. So yeah, so that is the great treatment that I do for myself on certain days of the week. Now, very occasionally, I mean, I've not been doing this of late, but also if you're not very comfortable laying on your front in that postural drainage position, then of course you can do exactly the same in sitting, especially if you're not really comfortable laying on your front. And again, you can perform for whatever amount of time you are happy just sitting there, blowing away like as if you're smoking at the same time, for example. But yeah, that's the treatment that I do for myself. So I'd like to say thank you ever so much for watching this specific recording. I do have to apologise that, again, I've perhaps not got the clearest of voices, so I do apologise if you can't always understand what I'm saying, but I do thank you, however, that you have watched my recordings so far, and I do hope that you'll continue to watch my future recordings, and I do hope that there'll be less of talk, you know. This is fairly new for me, so you do have to bear with me until I become better at recording, and you know, it will come natural every time, and then later on I'll become a more professional, and I just know what I'm going to be saying without even thinking about it, as you can probably tell. So as we now have come to the end of series 2 or 3, I can't really remember without looking, of chest physiotherapy. Oops, I said that word again. It's a word at the end of the day. Yeah, that's about it really in this specific series. And again, I may revisit these videos again in the future, because you can never quite tell what you're going to be doing in the next recording, that is certainly for sure. So that is that really. So thank you so much for recording. I do hope that you'll join me again in my next vlog, and you have to tune back to find out what that is. And here is that special dedication message to, let's have a drum roll please. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Yes, it's you, Sean. A massive round of applause please to Sean. Congratulations, you are this week's winner, and you walk away with anyway. So for those who watched the ITV news, just imagine the ITV theme in the background, IDV News at 10. And finally, here is news about my very dear friend, Sean. Now, Sean, I know that you are going to be watching, so thank you very much for staying until the end. Because after all, it is, of course, about you. And yeah, I do have to say that Sean has been the most authentic and the really genuine friend that I have met in all my life. Now, obviously, when you leave school, at whatever you leave school, and whether you decide to go on to college or not, you don't know who you're going to be meeting outside of school. And I know it's fair for me to say that I've met some not so genuine two friends who happen to take way too much advantage of my good nature. I mean, obviously people come into life to have certain experiences, and obviously people go out of your life to say, been there, done that, sort of thing. And soon afterwards, I decided to take up my all-time hobby, dance. And first of all, a big shout out to all the Coral players, past and present. So a big shout out to you all, if you happen to be watching one day. And I do have to confess that I'm not really a big, massive darts fan compared to Sean. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, I do like my darts. And as I say, I decided to take up darts and visit my local pub that time. And when I first signed up, we were obviously one big team in a way, and obviously that's when Sean and I didn't meet then, or we wasn't even known to each other then. And so I signed up for about one season or two, and then Sean came soon afterwards when our Coracle team got a bit bigger, and the captain has decided to split us into an A and B team. And then obviously I obviously knew about the split teams, and Sean somewhere along the lines knew about the split team, so we wanted to go to the Coracle to sign up for darts himself. I obviously can't speak for Sean, but ever since then we have grown that great friendship for one another. And obviously, you know, whether you meet a new relationship with somebody, or even a friendship with somebody, you know, say for example, to begin with, I didn't really say to Sean to begin with, oh, my name's Jason, I've got cystic fibrosis. I mean, you know, that's not really a icebreaker that you bring up in a relationship with even your girlfriend, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, obviously, again, like your relationship with somebody, friendships build up over time. And as I try to remember back then what happened, perhaps every week or so, Sean and I met up one Saturday for a game of darts, and that's how the friendship built, really. Obviously, you have to get a sense of the friendship, whether it's a good friendship or it's going to turn out to be a not so good friendship. And actually, it did turn out to be a great friendship, because obviously we're still friends, and that's great. And, you know, I do have to confess that, you know, like with relationships, for example, you know, you have your good times, you have your bad times, but when you do have your bad times, obviously you discuss about those problems to move forward, really. But yeah, going back to the friendship that Sean and I have, I did eventually pluck up the courage to say that I've got cystic fibrosis, and I just felt that it would be a good thing for me to mention it to Sean, because I had that sense that I just basically had that sense, really, without trying to put more words into my own set of words, what I'm trying to think of from the top of my head. And cystic fibrosis is not completely new for Sean, because he once had a friend who sadly died from cystic fibrosis. And also, Sean is not completely new to chest physiotherapy, because he saw his friend's mother do it for him as well, and several years later, he is doing it for me. Hooray! No, that's great news. I mean, obviously, like we said in the previous video, obviously I started this chest percussion, or Sean likes to call it, chest pumps. Bless him. And, you know, obviously treatment started off when I was a young baby, of course, in hospital, where several professionals come along to do the percussion on my chest, which led down to a professional coming around on a weekly basis or so. And then my mother, get my words right, eventually doing it for me. And, you know, I do have to confess that I did find it rather boring from my mother. I mean, no offence to my mother, of course. Now, I do have to confess that, okay, like I said, when my mother was doing it for me, as often as the professional did, I hated it. And again, no offence to my mother, but obviously being pounded on your chest for a certain amount of time, you couldn't wait for it to be over. And when Sean started doing this for me, most often until he gradually brought it down to less frequent, thanks to my calf trio drug, which I'm taking every day, Sean actually brought something into this doing my chest, in a way that something that I wouldn't usually enjoy into doing something that I now certainly enjoy. So, Sean, thank you ever so much for bringing enjoyment into doing my physio for me. And it's something to look forward to on each of your visits, because I do want to enjoy it, whether it's serious or not. And especially if your great mate is doing it, then you do really want to look forward to it. And that's that, really. So, Sean, keep up the good work, because you are certainly doing wonders for my chest. Great. But yes, several years later, as I said, I just had that sense that I should talk about my CF, and it was a good move, because, like Sean says, if you don't ask, then you don't get. So I did ask, and I got. So that's super duper, really. So I'm glad that Sean is doing my physio for me. And that is still a very strong word for me, that P word. It really is. And perhaps Sean might get me to say it one day. But, you know, regardless, I'm so happy for Sean to be doing my chest on a monthly basis. I mean, I try not to repeat what was talked about in the previous recording. But yeah, I'm just so grateful that Sean has came into my life and is still in my life to help me with my CF condition, because again, like I said in the previous recording, great mates do things for each other greatly, really. So and I know that obviously Sean will disagree with this, because I do have to say that he's an atheist, and I know there are other people out there who are skeptics as well, really. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean, I know that half the world is full of believers like me, and sadly the half of the other world are full of non-believers. But it's the way of the world, you know. So all I'm going to say is I thank God for bringing Sean into my life, and more on that in the not so distant future. So I'm so glad that Sean and I have sadly met, greatly met each other, and ever since then we are doing great things for each other. So Sean, from me to thee, that is you, God bless you for all that you do. And I know that he'll keep on asking me questions about God and Jesus. Again, that's another thing that I'm going to be talking about in my future vlog. So that is my very special dedication to Sean. And without further ado, once again, thank you ever so much for watching this extended version. And until the next time, stay safe and God bless you for watching. Take care.